Good evening, gents. I hope everyone's okay. Personally, I've been looking forward to this actual podcast because one thing that we've spoken about off camera, but not in depth actually, is what's this podcast about? What are we doing it for individually? What's our purpose? What do we want from it? What do we want the podcast to achieve? What's our reasons for being in this? Our rationale. So, if I could start, Anthony, if it's okay to start with you, sir. What's your reason for wanting to be a part of this podcast? Just that section. What's your reason for it, sir?
My reason is, funny enough, we spoke about this earlier before. My reason is that over the few years that I've been around on this planet, I've worked in some various places which I've been very lucky enough to be in. I've experienced a lot of things in life, which I can say has taught me a few lessons, some good and some bad. But as I've got a little bit older now, I do find a lot of people ask me certain questions like, "Oh, you're the techie guy, and you in management, you've done this, you've done that, and your experiences of life." And I just thought, I've got so much that I always say to people. So I thought, well, when we spoke about doing this, I said, well, what a great place to do it, because I can now openly talk about a lot of experiences and sort of share my experiences and also share some of the knowledge that I've acquired. And it's not necessarily from me. I'm not telling around saying I am the great almighty one, because I'm certainly not. But I can definitely say I picked up a lot of good advice. I've had some good insight into certain subjects. Lucky enough to be in certain fields. And I feel like, well, why not share it? I share this information that we have, and like if we're building up a tribe, within the tribe you have people that you go to counsel, you talk to, you need advice for, or whatever, whether it's a uncle, an aunt, an auntie, a brother or sister. And that's what I kind of feel like we are. It's like a little family, and we're trying to create another family, but online, and try and help. And also, one important thing I said to Nick today when we're discussing this is, I'm not here to tell people that they're right or wrong. I want to be able just to reassure people, to make them realize you're not alone, if that makes sense. Like certain subject we'll talk about, there might be one person who's thinking, but I thought it was just me, and I thought I was being an idiot, or I was thinking I was being so negative, but actually it's a common thing, and actually we all feel this way. And if that's something that I can do to help somebody, then for me that has made, that fulfills me.
Okay.
And young or old.
Cool. Thank you, Anthony. Win, what's your? So let me re-ask the question just to make sure that we still got it. What are you in? Basically, what are you in this for? What are your particular reasons for wanting to do this podcast?
Oh gosh, I think it's growing, the reasons. But I think at this, from the beginning, the kind of embryo of having these discussions, for me it was more kind of about men's health, because what I was finding is that there wasn't really enough conversations around men's mental health. And I thought to myself, you know what, we're a group of guys, we talk quite a lot, and we're quite fortunate that we have this network of friends who can communicate and talk about our issues. So from my perspective, it was look, we've got some knowledge here that we can pass on. And I think just like what you just said a minute ago, Anthony, that there is a lot of people kind of that can do with this type of support, this type of communication. And I think that we can bring something to the table with regards to that. We're mature men. What we find is that a lot of men don't really talk about their, private feelings. And again, we're quite fortunate that, we can be quite open to have these kind of discussions. So my real kind of motivation to kind of get involved was because I know personally that due to a lack of communication, people that I know, family members, etc., have suffered difficulties because they haven't been able, not had that opportunity to open up and talk about things. And I think like our original kind of discussions were really about men's health and around men's issues. So that was my real motivation. But going forward, I think that there's so much more that we can add and so much more value that we can touch base on subjects and have a decent conversation and people can engage. And that's what I'm hoping to do, is have our conversations as we would do, because like we would probably have these conversations whether it be once a week anyway or once a month anyway, so we may as well have these conversations with the rest of the community, as Anthony just kind of touched on. Okay. There's a community of people out there that might want to engage in these types of conversations, and I'm hoping that we can be of help. We don't want people, like Anthony just said, we don't want people to be feeling alone with their issues or problems, but also we want to not only just deal with problems, we want to laugh together as well. We want to share our sense of humor. So hopefully that's the kind of motivation that I have at this present moment. But like I said, it's evolving. And I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm looking to enjoy the journey.
Cool, thank you, sir. Michael, aka Simon Templar.
First of all, did you guys miss me last week? I'll move on.
Yeah, move on.
I'll move on.
Yeah.
So my motivation,
like Nick said, with every shot.
Nick, do you want to ask the question again? I've forgotten what you asked me now, Nick.
I'm not surprised.
Typical.
What's your rationale? What are you doing this podcast for? What's your reasons for it?
Okay, so for me, I wanted to come on here first and foremost is to learn. To learn from you guys in terms of your thoughts, opinions, and ideas, because I think there's a real melting pot of different skills, knowledge, and ability here. Do you know what I mean? So I wanted to tap into that, and I wanted to personally learn from that. I also want us to be able to get to a position where we're actually, raising awareness for the people that might happen to tune in. And as Anthony said, that hopefully that community will grow as the weeks and months kind of move on. I want us to talk about I want us to kind of almost be a kind of a lifestyle channel in a way, to cover a broad range of subjects really, because if we're talking about society in a whole, many people are going through many different things. So if we can sort of try cover as broader range of subjects as we can, I think that would be really useful, and that would add value to the community that we're kind of trying to reach out and trying to build along the way. Touching on what you said as well, Winston, I think many people can live very into their lives. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes these type of platforms almost become that sort of extended kind of sort of friendship groups and things like that. So for me, it's important that we try and be a bit jovial, a bit lighter along the way as well. Try and bring a bit of joy and happiness into people's life. I think that's very, very important to me, and that kind of sits within my own kind of values and my own personality as well. So yeah, I mean, I think if we look from the beginning where we started to where we are now, I think as a collective we're growing, we're getting more confidence, and I personally becoming more confident, and because it's not easy being in front of the camera, and as Winston said, that we have conversations off camera all the time, so we're now playing these conversations out on camera, and the way we're doing it is becoming really, really organic, and I like that, so we're not saying that we're right, Anthony, you're right. We're not saying that we're subject leading experts or anything, but what we are saying is that we have an opinion, and we're able to lift our head above the parapet and kind of convey that and express that opinion. And hopefully, as we grow, we've got the comments kind of field. If people disagree or people have a different take on what we're presenting, engage. Because we will learn that way as well. So it's so for me, you know, I think we're quite fortunate. We're in a collective, we're in a group where we're able to kind of talk about things, unpack things in a way that, yeah, in an open, honest way, and hopefully the community will feel that too, or our listeners, I should say, will kind of feel that too as we build along the way. So hopefully I've got there, you know. So that's where I'm at with it.
Okay, thank you, Mike. So for me, what I mean is really briefly, I'm going to say that I'm going to echo something that you guys have said, which is we have these conversations off air anyway. A big thing for me is the learning part, what Mike said, but here's the most important thing for me. When I've gone through certain struggles myself, I've never felt so isolated. So when I've spoken to others, they haven't quite understood what I'm trying to get across. Now, my hope and one of the reasons for doing this is voicing opinions that people may be okay with or not okay with. However, the fact that the four of us are going to challenge each other, that's the hope. That we're going to challenge each other and we're going to have difference of opinions. I'm not going to go into masses about it right now, but us four have fundamental differences of ideas about things in life in general. And even though that happens, hopefully it comes across with how close we are. So it goes back to that bit of just trying to communicate and allow people to see this, to say, you know what, it's okay to have these differences. It's okay, as Anthony said earlier, it's okay that at times I'm not okay. But it's also, as Anthony said earlier, it's okay to be okay. So my bit is, when we spoke about friendship, for example, one of the comments that came through was that somebody said, I'd never considered it this way. And it's made them relook and rethink about stuff in their personal life. For me, the pod's already achieved. I hope that makes sense. So my bit is, I want to be challenged. I want to challenge, and I want to give out some of my weird and wacky ideas. And I know that they are, if we go against the mainstream, but I want people to know, and that's fine. It's okay. That's it. So that's my main reason for it. So going back around the clock again, Anthony, the next question, which is slightly different. So you said your reasons for your personal involvement in the podcast. So now here's the next bit. What do you want the podcast to achieve?
Question.
What I'd like to achieve is that when people see this channel, it makes them feel as though there's a safe space for them. They can feel as though there's a reference for them. They can go back to maybe one of the previous episodes, see a subject matter and click on it, and it will make them feel as though, oh, that makes sense. That really, oh, I feel better. And even if they have to keep going back to it, because sometimes you don't get that instant relief. Sometimes you have to revisit something over. It's like reading a book, isn't it? Sometimes you get it, and then you read it a couple of times, and all of a sudden you'll get those aha moments. You go, oh, now that's what the author was talking about. I get it now. And sometimes that's what somebody might want to do. But if we can do that and then grow and get people to do the same, to talk to each other, you know, to talk to a friend, to talk to a relative, to talk to a child, your siblings, and just to be able to say, look, let's talk. Because I think we now live in a day of digital experiences where just picking up a phone or texting is the way that we communicate. Where actually what we're doing here now, we're communicating as humans. You know, we can see each other's emotions, we can see each other's reactions. If I challenge you, if you challenge me, you can see it in our faces where it's like, whoa, but that's what we need, because that makes us be more human and that makes us communicate and grow together. So that's kind of what I hope that will happen to the channel.
Okay, great. Thank you, Anthony. Win? What? So the
It's a
question
good
is, what do you want the podcast to achieve?
I think it's a good question. It's a good question, and I've never really thought about it until this moment. So I think, from my perspective, it's kind of like, okay, there's a lot of icons out there. There's a lot of superstars out there. There's a lot of influencers out there. But what we're just regular guys having a conversation from our point of view, and I think the majority of people have a similar kind of mindset. They have the similar kind of experiences. You know, we go to work on a daily basis. We do a 9 to 5. We have relationships. We have normal stuff going on. So hopefully, it can achieve that people can interact with normal people, talking about their experiences from a real experience. Because we're not celebrities. We're not multi-millionaires. Well, Anthony is. And Simon Templar is, and Nick is, but I'm not.
No.
But I'm a millionaire in another way, and that's because I've got friends like you guys. So that being said, I feel like that is what I'm trying to achieve, is that people can share their views and their points and become the same in terms of being a millionaire, in the sense that I have a community of people that respect and honor one another. So hopefully that's what I'm trying to develop, and hopefully that comes across with the general public, building that community and that friendship. So, like I said, it's a very difficult question to answer because I've never really thought about it, but I've just answered that off the cuff. But what I do feel is things have developed since we started, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. Things have really changed. It's about 5 months now. When did we start? About October. See,
Wow.
we hadn't even sat down and really thought about it. But yeah, no channel really kind of gets that kind of grip on its audience until about 2 years. So, hopefully I'm here for the long haul, and we'll see how it develops, and hopefully drawing people into this community. That's what I'd love to do. That's what I'd hope to achieve. Where it goes from there, I don't know. That needs discussion once we get to like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 1 million followers. Then I'll be interested in what that's all about. But yeah, that's it from me, really.
Cool, thank you, Win. Mike, what do you want the?
Simon.
What do you?
You mean Simon?
Simon. Simon.
I got it right.
Yeah. What do you want the podcast to achieve?
Yeah, just on the challenge bit, because I missed that off my previous answer, because that challenge bit's also very important to me, because I'm in a safe space. I respect the challenge because I know that challenge would come in a very, very in the right way, essentially, and I've got confidence in you guys that it would come in the right way, and that's important to me, because if we're going to have open and honest discourse and exchange opinions and ideas, we should also be able to challenge. To be quite honest, I think we do agree on quite a lot. But naturally there's going to be things that we don't, and I think we should be able to do that in this forum, and that's important for me because, because for me, personal opinions are very, very important. So I need to endorse that part. So that's good. But I was thinking about, so in terms of what do we hope to achieve? So the people, what I'm hoping that whoever listens into it, or even ourselves really, from what we experience or what we learn or what we hear on here, that we're able to kind of not tell people what to do, but to empower people to make decisions for themselves based on what they might potentially hear in here. Because somebody who listens in may not have had the opportunity or been privy to some of the discussions or some of the ideas that we might come to the fore over the previously over the upcoming weeks. So it's about decision making and empowering people to make decisions for themselves which suit themselves with the options that may come out in this forum.
Okay, Mike, thank you. I'm going to say, just off the back of what you guys have said, I'm sitting here, I've asked the question, I thought about this question earlier, and as people will be able to hear and see, we haven't had a conversation about these questions that I'm asking. These are just been thrown out there to you guys. And even now, I was kind of contemplating this question, but hearing you guys now, I'm sitting there thinking, oh, because I just need to be as authentic as I can in this moment. And for me, it's already been achieved. What I wanted from this podcast has already been achieved. And that is, I know that 1 or 2 people that have sent messages through that this has had a positive impact on. So in that sense, it's already achieved what I needed it to achieve, what I wanted it to achieve. That isn't saying that I don't want that to carry on for others. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So my bit here is, it's just that you guys are using the term safe space, and I've heard that, and great, that's fine. That kind of, I don't know, for me personally, that puts my hackles up, because I think safe space and challenge for me are kind of not polar opposites, but I need to be able to be challenged. I need to be able to challenge. And I mean that from the people that are watching this. So if they hear, who's this older guy, Nick, that's talking like this? Who does he voice that? I want to hear that. As long as, and I will always respectfully answer that if it's done in a respectful manner to each other. So I will always respond respectfully, and I expect that to come this way. If it doesn't come this way respectfully, then I'll be honest with you, I'm looking after this one. So I'm gonna back that away. But for me, it sounds a bit cheesy, but it's already been achieved, because I know 1 or 2 people that have put a message on saying, you know what, I didn't look at it like that. And so if there's more of that to come, that's what it's achieving for me, and I'm blessed to be part of that. Does that make sense? Right. I
understand.
So I'm looking at the time. So there is one more question on it, which is still. So individually, is there something, because this is slightly different and it's nuanced. These questions are nuanced. I've asked you guys, what's your reason for wanting to be a part of the pod, and what do you hope the pod achieves? So now here's the final question, and I realize time. So if we could keep it kind of, I'm being a bit bossy here, but if we could keep it kind of short, sweet, that'd be great. What do you? So Anthony, first question to you, or this question to you first of all, sir. What do you want from the pod?
Wow, what do I want from the pod? It's kind of similar to the question you've asked, but the previous one. What do I want from the pod? I just want to be able to speak to people who I've never spoken to before, and just make them realize, hey, you know what? There's you didn't realize you might have another friend here.
Beautiful, love that. Yeah. Okay, thank you, sir. Win, what do you want from the pod?
I think what I want from the podcast now is completely different from what it was when I first started. I still want that, but now it's become my business, and now it become personal. Ooh. I want it to become something that represents what I kind of believe in, and if I could get to that point, that would be great. And I think what I'm driving at is building a comradeship of people, so people that we can communicate with, building a channel, turning it into something that's actually going to be sustainable, something that people will spend 30 minutes to kind of engage with. I mean, and also, be a bit more creative with what we're actually doing. Ooh. And I think that's kind of like what we're going to be discussing after we, had this pod in a moment. So probably, because we're looking at trying to make it better than what it actually is at the present moment. So what I'm trying to achieve now is further engagement, a better platform, and something that people want to kind of communicate and take part in. That's what I'd like to achieve right now.
And that's what you would like from it, yeah?
From it, yeah, definitely.
Cool. Cool. Thank you, sir. Simon?
Cheers. Apart from having Mikel Arteta on here, which may happen if
Oh
we go
no,
along
that
with-
won't happen. No,
Oh, for crying out, mate! I ain't calling you Simon either.
no, no. That won't happen.
No, you can just call me sir. But anyway, that's another thing. But I want us to be authentic, right? Based on what. Also, I want us to be successful. We are trying to build something, so I want us to be successful, and we will. I also want us to be accountable as well. Yeah. So if I say something on here, and as long as you feeding off what you said previously, if somebody disagrees or either you guys disagree, and I've said something, then I'm going to be accountable for what I've said. You might not like what I'm going to say, but these were my reasons,
Okay.
and I'm going to own that.
So you want an open forum for this, is what you're saying? That's what you want from the pod.
What I'm saying is, if I say something on the pod and somebody, that's when I'm going to be. I will be accountable for what I said. Doesn't mean you're going to have to agree with what I've said, but this is what I said, and this is my rationale for saying it. But as long as you said, if somebody comes back in the comments or whatever, and in the right way, because I'm going to say in the right way, then fine, we can have that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And what do I want from the pod? It's very similar to what you said, actually, Mike. It's very similar. There is that element of, I haven't got my eye on the. It's something I need to work on, clearly, because I haven't got my eye on the. I don't know. It's not necessarily about, right, I want millions and millions of people to. Of course, that would be lovely, but more importantly for me is something that all three of you have said, which is a group of people that can come on here. Because when we're talking about celebrities, when you mentioned something earlier on about celebrities, for me, the people that are subscribed, the people that view this, the people that comment on this, I'm saying it because I've said it from day one and I continue to say that. For me, those are our celebrities. Those are the people that I want to interview, because exactly what you said earlier on, Win, which is we are normal guys with a 9-to-5 leading normal lives, whatever normal means. Well, I'm assuming that's the same as our followers. So there's the connection, there's the togetherness already. So they're the celebrities as far as I'm concerned. So I'd like for some of these guys to come on. I'd like some of these guys to get involved, as well as the comments that they're putting in and we can interact with. So what do I want out of this? More engagement, but I'm not talking about numbers. I'm talking about the quality of engagement, which allows people to just be. That sounds cheesy, like I should be writing Christmas cards. I get that. But that's my honest opinion of this. If it's 1 million people and it's absolutely ridiculously rubbish interaction with people and no learning going on, or there's 61, 62 subscribers, which we've got at the moment, and that's quality, I'll take that. Then for me, it's achieving. Right, guys, that's my... Any last thoughts from any of you before we sign off on this one? Any last things that you want to say?
Yeah.
I missed you, Michael. I did miss you, Michael.
And I missed you guys. I was going to say, off the back of that, I was going to say, I did watch the pod last week, after not being well, and you guys did an outstanding job last week. It was really, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
We know.
But there was a missing link. I won't lie. There was a missing link. And unfortunately, it was you. So, what can I say?
I didn't notice it.
Anthony, I'll take that.
You better take it, because you're never going to get anything else from me.
Okay, so again, Anthony, any last thoughts on this podcast, sir?
I just want us to make sure that the direction that we go is the direction that people want us to go through. So I don't want us to go on any tangents. We do carefully look at what we talk about. We don't just make up things just for the sake of it, because we want to talk about things that are relevant. So like you've been saying in the comments, guys out there, if there's things you want us to talk about, or if there's something you want us to go back and talk about, just let us know. This is your channel as well as our channel, So, and if you also want me or any one of us to rib each other, let us know as well, because I'm up for that any day.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Anthony. Win, any last comments on this this one, sir?
You know what? Like, I think like what everybody's kind of alluded to already. Like, the platform, the people that we have already subscribing to the platform, is great. You know,
Yeah.
I couldn't ask for much more, and if we could, you know, improve on that, then that's great, and that's what, you know, that's what all these things are about, is improving. But I'm happy as things are. But we'll be trying to be honest, and that's the whole premise of the podcast, is having an honest discussion, and that's what we're about. Unfortunately, we're going to have to change that name because of the issues that it you know, brings across, which we can discuss in a later podcast. But yeah, I mean, I just want to be honest. I just want to have an honest discussion with people, and hopefully, you know, that can build relationships and bridges. I hope so.
Cool. Thank you, sir. Mike or Simon?
So, just to say that in terms of where we started from to where we are now, I'm more than made up, because I can see the evolution of the pod, and we are getting better, we are getting more confident, and things are improving. And just to echo what you guys said about the 62 people that have subscribed, thank you very much for that. Do you know what I mean? That support is amazing, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? It just gives us that kind of that spur, or that indication that, you know, we're building. All right. So the journey continues. Exactly. The journey continues. I echo what Anthony says. If you want us to make references about anything Liverpool, bottling the title, anything of that nature, put it in the comments, please.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they will. Anyway, they will. I'll clip that up.
Okay.
Do you feel the need to retort?
Hang on there. You just go back to winning.
Well, he's got to retort. Surely he's got to respond.
Let me just say something here. If Liverpool are going to bottle the title, then let's put £100 bet on that right now.
Whoa!
This channel is called Let's Be Honest, right?
Yeah, let's put £100 bet on it.
That was just my opinion.
Don't forget Liverpool just played Everton.
Am I allowed to have my opinion?
All right.
Yeah, that was just my opinion.
Yeah, he's not going to put a bet on it, people. So if you want Michael to put £100 bet on Liverpool losing the Premier League this season, please put it down in the comments, and I'll make sure he gets it done. I'll make sure.
And if he loses, he's got to wear a Liverpool top.
Absolutely.
Listen,
He's done that before in the past. Don't worry.
Yeah, he wouldn't wear a Tottenham top for obvious reasons.
No, definitely not. Definitely.
Oh, you went serious.
Sacrilege.
Wow. You went serious. Wow.
Right, gents. Thank you for this evening. I think it's been good. I'm looking forward to, as you alluded to, when we're going to have a conversation now, off camera, and have a hit, which is quite nice, because it lets people know that we're not just coming on here and doing this. We're working on this behind the scenes. We are trying to come up with different subject matter, and we've got a difference of opinion on certain things. So yeah, the next conversation is going to be interesting. But peace and love to you all.
Peace and love.
Peace.